Welcome back to Que-pasa-Nashville. My name is Christina Allen, and we are talking to the new Chief Diversity Officer under the Mayor's office here in Nashville, Michelle Hernandez-Lane. Thanks again for being on the show. And we were talking about the purpose and reason for your new position, a Chief Diversity Officer, which most corporations have that. Chief IT person, Chief Operating Officer, Chief Diversity Officer. And some people think it's only about employees. Tell me, what is your task as you go into this position? Because you're still fairly new at it, but what are going to be your priorities?
I think a way to really put it in perspective in terms of what the Chief Diversity Officer is charged with doing is ensuring that in all of the conversations that we have related to how the city functions, that there is an infusion of diversity into those conversations, and that we consider the impact of services and various actions on diverse segments of our community. To that end, I'll be working diligently again to make sure that our workforce is reflective of the diversity that is Nashville, that we continue to maintain focus on purchasing from diverse business owners, working closely with Mayor's office staff to ensure that we have diverse representation on boards and commission appointments, working with other metro departments, with the Human Relations Commission, on what we call general quality of life diversity issues. There are some folks out there who are already working on diversity issues. We want to, augment that work and to support and undergird it, and make sure that it's very clear in everything that we do that we value the diversity of Nashville, and that inclusion is important to us. And again, I applaud Mayor Berry as a citizen of Nashville for making this a focus, and I don't just say that simply because of the appointment, but as a citizen, someone who's lived here for the last 23 years, it is such a breath of fresh air to have someone come in and say, I see the diversity that is Nashville, I value it, and we're going to put a focus on it.
Let's kind of paint a picture of where we're going. The 2010 census shared that Latinos are 10%.
Absolutely.
We're at 2016. Nashville Next, Mayor Carl Dean's initiative to see what are we going to look like in 25 years shows that the Latino community is going to be 34% in 25 years. The Anglo, I believe, is going to go down to 36%, the African American stays at 27%, and then 7% others. This is in 25 years what we're going to look like. So we got to prepare for that. But in a way, it's our children's grandchildren
Absolutely.
who are going to be so assimilated, but still have their culture from their family in Mexico or wherever, but it's going to make us even stronger as a city. I also have to note that our international presence with Bridgestone and Nissan, and that's Japanese oriented. So we're not just talking about African Americans or Latinos, we're talking about the scope of our diverse community that we're becoming because of our international presence in corporate headquarters or even business. I think Nashville ranks 13th in the nation, the city, in international trade, and the state does well. So again, we're reflecting the needs of the community and our changing community.
And a huge foreign-born entrepreneur base here in Nashville. I mean, it's very clear that we are the change makers. We are the ones who are really prompting the paradigm shift in terms of making sure that our approach is consistent with what we see being the landscape in Nashville. It is very, very different.
So how do we go beyond, I know it's not beyond our Davidson County borders, and how do we, hopefully we can lead that it kind of flows into Rutherford County, who has a large, and all other counties, because they have the growth, and we can lead them in that, especially the Franklin School District with the large Latino population, in which our metro schools, 30% of our metro school students are English language learners, of which 25% are Latino. I mean, that's aha moments there. And it reflects on our surrounding areas as well.
I agree. I think that we should demonstrate leadership by example, putting a very specific emphasis on ensuring that we are working toward inclusion and making sure that people understand the value that there is in the diversity that makes Nashville beyond just our regional partners, I think that we can also look to the nation. We have, about 7 other cities. We've got Philadelphia, New York, and Boston, other really large cities that have chief diversity officers, cities that have said, we're diverse cities. We need to make sure that we have a very specific emphasis on ensuring that that diversity is represented in how we do business, how we function as a government. So I think that Nashville is in a unique place where we're able to provide leadership not just to our regional partners, but potentially to other similarly sized cities across the country, and making sure that we get it right.
Is that where you are also being able to learn from as well? I mean, I know there's, I'm sure, chief diversity conventions or whatever, but are you able to see, like Charlotte, who's been progressive in understanding their diverse communities and done so many things like New York, but by New York, by default, they're so diverse. But
Absolutely.
Charlotte's brand new, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there are a number of sources and resources, if you will, to ensure that we're getting the best practices and the best information so that we proceed down, the right path. There are some other cities, again, out there that are doing this and doing it well. There's some corporations. We've got some private partners who have placed emphasis on diversity and inclusion for a long time that we can also follow. And some folks may look at some of those and think that they're a little bit too far to the left or what, but I think it's a unique opportunity for us to understand that, placing value on different perspectives and people's different experiences is only good for Nashville at the end of the day. And so there's a way for us to do that, to learn from other partners, whether it be in other governments and other, cities or states, or whether it be in the private sector, so that we can get it right. This work is important. I think we have to be purposeful and intentional about doing it right and getting it right as quickly as we can.
And if you keep with those two, purposeful and intentional, then the quality of work is going to be there. Because you're not going to hire someone because of their minority status just because they're minority. They have to be at the level of work to take on the responsibility. And a lot of people don't realize that. They think it's a check in the box, but what we're trying to do, I think all of us who works in this type of field, is make sure that we have qualified, bonded, insured people ready to step up and step into a position without and realizing they're even a minority status.
Well, quantity, again, the numbers, that's important. But keeping those numbers where they need to be is equally important. And I think that quality gets to that. If we are bringing people in just because, like you said, we can check a box,
and I think that's
then they're not going to say.
And that's the past.
Absolutely.
So
that's an old school way of thinking about it.
As we evolve, so tell me about the Diversity Advisory Committee that was, I think was placed by Mayor Carl Dean, but evolved more so with Megan Barry. Tell me about that.
Correct. The Diversity Advisory Committee was initially appointed, created by executive order by then Mayor Carl Dean. Mayor Barry has reaffirmed that executive order. It's a 15-member committee, and it is consistent of Metro Department heads, the law director, the finance director, etc., are included, as well as some members of council. And that committee really is charged, again, specifically with boosting the workforce diversity in Nashville. So, we're looking again at recruitment, at development, at promotion, and retention of a diverse workforce.
I love that collaborative mindset.
Yeah, there's some very intentional steps that you have to take. We know what we know, and we know that there are some things that we don't know. So as part of that work, we'll certainly be seeking at some point, some assistance from some folks who are experts to help us make sure that we're going down the right path. But again, at the end of the day, the purpose is to make sure that we're focused on and that we're results oriented in our approach to boosting the diversity in Metro Nashville's workforce.
As we wind down, I know your website's very important, and it is www.nashville.gov. Nashville.gov. But also, I encourage everyone, the Celebration of Cultures is a Metro Parks and Recreation event that happens the first Saturday in October at the Centennial Park, and it is beautiful. You really see the diverse communities and that we're already here, and people are going, you might not see them at your school or at your church, but they're here and they're vibrant and huge, and there's just so many events that go on specifically for Hispanic Heritage Month, Black History Month. You know, so we got to look and take our children to see the beauty we're becoming, not just read about it, but go taste the foods at the new restaurant down the street. I just found a shining elephant on 12th Avenue that I just love, you know, Thai food, but you got to get it out there too, so that you could see it yourselves and taste it and embrace it yourselves. I encourage everyone. So as we continue to see Nashville grow and prosper and be the it city and get ranked, what do you think this is going to do for us?
Oh, I mean, I think that this effort really puts us heads and shoulders above the approaches that many other cities have taken. I think it really gives us the opportunity to better know ourselves and to become more comfortable with the diversity that makes Nashville. I mean, I came here in January of 1993. Nashville looks so different now in 2016 than it did then. It's grown, and I think that this is an opportunity for us to really see that growth, embrace it, and to become part of a more multicultural and inclusive city.
Thank you very much. I think what you said at the very end, it's welcoming a multicultural city that is going to prosper continually for everyone involved.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Michelle, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining que-pasa-Nashville. We come each week and understand and hear about the opportunities and challenges Latinos and our global community bring to Middle Tennessee. It's a beautiful world out there, and we just love for you to join us. Muchas gracias.
Muchísimas gracias.